Welcome back, everybody. Starting lineups. Let's start here with Wallace County. Number 4, Jima Stafford. And number 9, Mia Ramirez. Number 14, Isabel Penka. Number 22, Brianna Medina. And the libero, number 30, Jasia Stafford there for the Wildcats. As we're going to move over to the Northern Valley Lady Huskies coming from Almena. Let's go through their starting lineups. First off, it's going to be number 3, Delaney Sides. Number 4, Tania Spear. Number 18, Aurora Hauserman. And number 19, Savannah Rose. A little bit of a pause from the announcer.
Now for the starters, for the visiting team.
Excuse me, those were the non-starters. My apologies on that. So let's go through the official starting lineups for Wallace County. Number 2, it's going to be Joss Benish. Number 3, a 5'6" senior, Brookley Dinkle. We're back to Northern Valley. They're kind of mixing it up on me. 5'8" sophomore, number 5, Austin Cox. And back over to Wallace County, Brookley Dinkle, the 5'6" senior. Number 6 for Northern Valley, Andrea Hauserman, a 5'5" senior. For Wallace County, number 6, Jalen Daly. She's a 5'7" freshman. Number 11, Shaylee Vesteka, a 5'3" junior for the Lady Huskies. Our next starter for the Wildcats, number 10, a 5'7" senior, Callie Stubbs. Back over to the Huskies, it's going to be number 13, Thais Signs. Back to the Wildcats, number 13, it's McKenna Gibbs. Back to the Huskies, number 16, Mary Baird, 5'7" sophomore. And lining out the starting lineups for the Wildcats, it's going to be number 20, Hayden Stubbs. And closing out the starting lineups for Northern Valley, number 21, Braxton Cox, a 5'2" sophomore. So those are your starting lineups for both teams. It's going to be a good game here. Of course, the libero for Wallace County, Jasia Stafford, will come in at the beginning of the game, as she's listed as a non-starter, but she is going to start things off. So once again, it is the 1A Division II Sub-State Championships here in Grainfield. 7 teams come here. It's going to be Golden Plains, Wallace County, Northern Valley, Wheatland Grinnell, Tri-Plains Brewster, Logan Palco, and Western Plains Healy taking on everybody here for the Sub-State. And it's do or die here. So you win, you go on. You lose, you go home. And the winner of this Sub-State gets a chance at the state championships down south. So it's a lot of volleyball coming up here on OpenSpacesSports.com. There's lots of volleyball going on around Kansas as well today. Open Spaces is also in Waukene doing St. Francis, Hill City, Oakley, all those teams over there in that sub-state. So if you want to tune into that one, feel free to do so. But here in Grainfield, we're just about ready to get underway. Northern Valley and Wheatland Grinnell coming in. Northern Valley with a 15-19 record. Wallace County 9-23 on the season. And that Northern Valley is the 4 seed. Wallace County is the 5 seed. So having 2 seeds that close together and having their records so different, 15-19 Northern Valley, 9-23 Wallace County, just being right next to each other in the seeding, as that explains kind of how different this sub-state is with different teams. It's a lot of variation between all these teams. You'll see a lot of different types of volleyball played today. But we're going to get underway. Northern Valley is going to start off with the serve. It's going to be Miss Austin Cox, a 5'8" sophomore, to start things out for Northern Valley. It's to the back row for Jasia Stafford. Set up for Benish. It's going to be Dinkle. Rolls over to the back row. Austin Cox going to set it up for Mary Baird. It's going to be in on the line of the back, and Northern Valley gets on the board first, 1-0. So Cox is going to be the one to serve it once again. This time it's into the net, and it'll tie it up at 1 apiece. So Wallace County's first serve, it's going to be Jima Stafford going to come off of the bench to serve it first here for the Lady Wildcats. And Jima Stafford is only a 5'3" freshman, but she plays varsity volleyball like she's been doing it all through high school. Here's her serve. It's going to be a short one to the front row, and out of bounds it goes. Point to the Wildcats. That was tipped out by Mary Baird. As Jima Stafford will get it back, 2-1 the lead. Stafford's tap to the back row. Cox with the second hit off to Baird. Rolls over, free ball for Benish. Sets it up for Dinkle. The spike tipped to the net, controlled by Cox. Set up from Baird. Over the net, dug out by Stafford. Over the net it goes from Brookley Dinkle. Back over to the Huskies. This time they're going to set it up for 3 hits for Mary Baird. The spike controlled in the back row for Stubbs. Now Benish off to Jima Stafford. The set over. Set. Roll over from Braxton Cox to the back row for the Wildcats. Benish sets it up. This time it's going to be spiked down into the net. Blocked. It's going to go right back over to the Wildcats after 1 tap. Benish to Dinkle. The slap. Tipped at the net. Northern Valley tips it right back over to the Wildcats. This time setting up for Benish. This spike to the back row. Cox is going to set it up. Hauserman rolls over. This time jump off the net. Down. Northern Valley gets the point. Ties it up at 2. So if that volley doesn't explain how good of a match this is going to be, that took a little bit of a time for finally Northern Valley to score. 2-2 our score. Here's the serve from Braxton Cox to the back row. Jima Stafford set up for Benish. Now for Dinkle. Blocked at the net and down it goes. Point to the Lady Huskies. Lady Huskies, of course, wearing the green. Wallace County in the blue. Set up from Benish. Now Dinkle's going to roll over. Cox is going to lift it, and it's going to be a point for Wallace County. 3-3, tied here in set 1. This time to serve, it's going to be a 5'7" senior Callie Stubbs, her first service of the game. It's going to be set up from Cox. A little bad pass into the net. Point for the Wildcats. 4-3. Wallace County's lead. And it's actually going to be a point for Northern Valley. My apologies. 4-3, Huskies lead. In comes number 20, Ellie Tharman for Northern Valley. To serve, it's going to be Mary Baird. The serve to the back row. Jima Stafford digs it up. Benish sets it up for Brookley Dinkle. The spike tipped to the net, controlled by Baird in the back row. Cox going to set it over. Hauserman's going to roll over. Set from Benish. Dinkle with the spike. It's controlled into the net. It goes, and it's going to be a lift call on the Huskies. Ties it back at 4 apiece. Just back and forth here in set 1. You win, you move on. You lose, you go home. The serve from Benish into the net. Free point for Northern Valley, 5-4. Hauserman's going to be the service for the Huskies. Stafford. Benish back, sets it for Dinkle. The running spike's going to be down. Wallace County's lead. Back tied at 5 apiece. Brookley Dinkle to serve here for the Lady Cats. Here's a serve, and Cox can't quite dig it out. And that'll give Wallace County the lead 6-5. Brookley Dinkle to serve it. Serve to the back row. Here's the setup for Tharman. Rolls over. It's going to be out the right side. And another point for the Lady Wildcats. 7-5 now. 2-point lead for Wallace County. Dinkle to serve it once again. Here's Dinkle's serve. Quickly over. Set up for Tharman. Tharman's spike into the net, just poorly placed. Miss tips it off of her hand. 3-point lead for Wallace County. Brookley Dinkle to serve it once again. Here's a serve from Dinkle. It's going to go to the back row. Rolls over in 2. Back to the Wildcats. It's going to be set over for McKenna Gibbs. Setting up for Cox. Cox spike into the net. Controlled by Northern Valley, but it's going to be 4 hits. Wallace County never touched it off the spike. And Austin Cox was loading up on that one. Although Wallace County has a 4-point lead, 9-5. Dinkle still at the service line from the near side. This time right over the top of the net. It's going to be set up for Tharman. Tharman's going to roll over to the back row. Gibbs going to set it up for Benish. Benish going to spike it from midway to Northern Valley. Tharman's going to roll over to the back row for Asia Stafford. Benish going to set it up. It's spiked by Stubbs. Back over to the Huskies. It's going to be set up from Austin Cox and down in the middle of Wallace County. 9-6. Wildcats lead over the Huskies here in set 1. Here's the serve. Jasia Stafford. Benish with the set. Stafford's going to be the one to roll it over. Set from Austin Cox. This one's off to Braxton Cox. Rolls to the backside. Setting up for Stubbs. The left-handed spike controlled by the Huskies. Set up for Braxton Cox once again. This time tipped at the net on the kill. Back to the back row. Braxton Cox going to slightly set this one over nicely. Benish now to Dinkle. Dinkle's spike into the net. It goes. And back-to-back points for the Huskies, 9-7. Taya Satan signs the one to serve it right, just barely over the net. Benish going to have to roll over. Signs setting up for Braxton Cox. The serve backside. Benish sets it up. This time it's for Hayden Stubbs. Rolls over to the back row for Signs once again. Here's the set from Hauserman. Cox with the spike blocked at the net. Cox is going to dig it out, but it's going to be 4 hits from Northern Valley. So Wallace County's the first one to double digits, 10-7. Jasia Stafford serve. Set up from Hauserman. Austin Cox going to be the one to roll over backwards. Benish bumps it second time. Gibbs. It's going to be over the head of Mary Baird. And out. 11-7. Jasia Stafford to serve it. The serve to the back row for Signs. Setting up for Braxton Cox. The spike is going to be miscommunicated and down on Wildcats' side. 11-8, 3-point lead for Wallace County. This time it's Shaylee Vesteka, the serve. Into the net it goes, and it's going to be a point for the Huskies. 11-9. Vesteka's serve, setting up from Benish, right over the net. And it's going to be a point for Northern Valley, a net violation there on Joss Benish. And now it's back to a 1-point lead for Wallace County. Northern Valley finally into the double digits. Vesteka serve to the back row, Dinkle. Benish with the second hit to Jasia Stafford. She's going to roll over backside. Set from Hauserman. Braxton Cox with a serve blocked to the net, back over to the Huskies. This time over in 2. Benish digs it up. Stubbs off to Callie Stubbs. This one's going to be over in 2 to the back row and perfectly placed. Ties it right back at 11 apiece. All. Set 1. Vesteka serve. Back row Stubbs. Benish with the set to Callie Stubbs. This one's going to be controlled. Back over in 1 from the Huskies. Benish over in 2. Back row. And they take the lead back. 12-11. The serve from Stubbs, and that one can't be controlled by Signs. 13-11. Excuse me, this is Jalen Daly with the left-handed serve. This one off the serve into the stands it goes. And it's 14-11. Daly's next serve. Austin Cox hits it first. Braxton Cox over to Hauserman. She rolls over. Set from Benish. Off to the middle way for Callie Stubbs. It's going to be set up for Braxton Cox. Slightly over the net, just barely. Back over, and it's going to be a point for Northern Valley. And this time, it's a net violation there by McKenna Gibbs. It is a young team for Wallace County. It's going to be over, and it's point for the Huskies. Like I said, it's a young team for Wallace County. All freshmen, 3 seniors, 1 sophomore, and 1 junior. So Austin Cox to serve. The serve is going to go to the back row for Stafford. Tip backwards. Stafford's going to be the one to hit it over on the third tap. Set from Cox. It's over and 2 to the back row. Touched and out. Point to Northern Valley. 14 all in set 1. Austin Cox next serve. That one's too much muscle underneath it. Out the back it goes. Point back to Wallace County, 15-14. Jima Stafford to serve it here for the Wildcats. Her serve right over the top of the net. Controlled. Braxton Cox, Mary Baird will roll over. Set up from Benish to Brookley Dinkle. The spike tipped at the net and out it goes. Point to Wallace County, 16-14. Serve from Jima Stafford to the back row sides. Cox off to Hauserman. The spike controlled by Stafford. Benish with the set. Brookley Dinkle with the running spike. Out the left side it goes. And it's back to a 1-point ball game. Braxton Cox to do the service for the Huskies. Here's the serve. Back row, Jima Stafford. Set from Benish. Backwards for Callie Stubbs. Into the net it goes. Point to Northern Valley. 16 all. The serve from Braxton Cox. Jasia Stafford. Benish setting up for Dinkle. The spike tipped to the net, controlled by Mary Baird. Austin Cox going to set it up. Back over to the Wildcats. Sets over, and it's going to be a point. It's a net violation. Antaya's signs. I'll get that last name pronunciated here in a little bit. It's a tough one. 17-16, Wildcats lead. Here's the serve. Set up for Austin Cox. This time, Sign's going to be the one to put it over. Brookley Dinkle spike to the offset side. Set up from Baird. It's going to be rolled over. Benish setting up for Dinkle. Dinkle spike blocked at the net, controlled. This one's going to be over and 2 from the Huskies. Back to the Wildcats. Benish is going to tip it over, and down it goes. 2-point lead. Here's the serve from Stubbs. Cox setting it up for Signs. The spike down. Tipped at the net and just changed the path of the ball. 1-point lead for the Wildcats. Mary Baird to serve. The back row, Jima Stafford. For Benish, setting up for Dinkle. Blocked at the net, back over to the Wildcats. They're going to roll back over. And Northern Valley's going to uncontrol it. 19-17. And it's going to be a timeout. 19-17 our score. Back when we return. And welcome back, everybody. Wallace County has a 2-point lead over Northern Valley, 19-17. Winner of this one will take the number 1 ranked Golden Plains Bulldogs as they got the bye first round. Joss Benish with the serve to the left side. It's going to be uncontrolled and down. 20 points for Wallace County, 17 for Northern Valley. Josh Benish to serve. The serve to the back row, controlled. Cox going to set it up, and it's going to be over, but dug up. Benish going to roll over to the backside. Austin Cox, pass into the net. What are they going to call it? It's a point for Wallace County, as I'm sitting right in the middle of the net, so I don't get to see the net move or anything. Kind of tough. 21-17. Benish's serve, dug up. Cox is going to set it up, this time for Signs. Jima Stafford setting up for Brookley Dinkle now. Back over the Huskies. Signs sets up for Tharman. Back row spike. Jasia Stafford. Now to Daly. Spiked into the net. 21-18 to a 3-point lead for Wallace County. Northern Valley still in it. Wallace County needs 4 more points for set 1, but Northern Valley knocking on the door. This one's over in 1. Controlled by the Wildcats. Jasia Stafford midway spike to the back row for Braxton Cox. Now to Hauserman. Set over from Signs into the net. It goes 22-18. Wallace County's lead. McKenna Gibbs is going to come back in for Wallace County. Brookley Dinkle to serve. Hauserman sets it up for Austin Cox. The spike into the net it goes, and it's 2 points away from set 1 for Wallace County. 23-18 timeout. Back when we return here on OpenSpacesSports.com.
At Equity Bank, they mean more. More solutions for your finances and more bankers standing by, whether that's in our lobbies or in the drive-thrus. They're at the Equity Bank. They're proud members of the community, big supporters of high school athletics. They shoot straight, and you score when it comes to no ATM fees nationwide. And don't forget to ask about Equity Bank Insurance, which offers an array of insurance products from home, auto, farm, business, and crop insurance. Why not stop by at Almena or Norton's locations and visit them online at equitybank.com to let them show you why equity means more. The Farmhouse Restaurant, now located in Sharon Springs, Kansas, at the intersections of Highway 27 and 40, is open for your dining pleasure Wednesday.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 23-18. Wallace County with a 5-point lead, and it's going to have to be a reserve for Brookley Dinkle. Weren't quite ready for it, nor was I, not going to lie. So Wallace County 2 points away from set 1. Set over from Hauserman. Benish going to hit it. Gibbs right back to Benish. The spike from midway off the top of the net. Setting up for Austin Cox. The spike slowly over to the mid. Dug up by Dinkle. Daly's going to roll over. Cox going to set it over for Signs. Jasia Stafford in the back row. Now Josh Benish for Daly. Daly's spike just missed off of her hand. And 4 points is the separation here late in set 1, 23-19. Wallace County's lead. The serve from Signs. Josh Benish sets it up for Jasia Stafford. The serve right over the net it goes. Cox going to set it up for Braxton Cox. Benish sets up for Daly. The southpaw spike into the net, and Northern Valley staying alive, 23-20. The serve, Jasia Stafford back row. Benish, now Gibbs, spikes it, sets it off 1. Braxton Cox to kill it over. Jasia Stafford midway rollover. Austin Cox set up for Braxton Cox. The spike out the back, and it's set point for Wallace County, 24-20. Wallace County definitely not looking like a 9-win team. Stafford with set point, serve into the net, and Northern Valley staying alive. Free point, 24-21. So Shaylee Vesteka's serve, dug out by Jasia Stafford. Setting up for the southpaw Daly. Spike into the net it goes. 4 hits is the call. 24-22. Northern Valley trying to turn this one around late. Vesteka will do it once again. The serve. Jays of Stafford. Benish gets it. Callie Stubbs going to roll over. Brooklyn Dinkle, and it's another point for Northern Valley. Timeout for Wallace County. 24-23. Back when we return.
They stand at the kitchen sink and fill their cups with hot coffee. In another 2 hours, the sun will dawn over the farm. As they sip the hot liquid, they listen to the farm report, wondering what this year's harvest will bring. They have farmed for as long as they can remember. More than what they do, farming is who they are. This is Lloyd Culbertson with First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, Long Island, Smith County Bank and Smith Center, and Solomon Valley Bank in Beloit. Member FDIC. These people and countless other local farmers are at harvest season. The literal fruits of their labor are at hand. We know you've done your best, for we've admired local farmers for as long as we can remember. If there's any way we can help, please tell us. We believe in you.
Heartland Carriers of Sharon Springs always supports the Wildcats and the Coyotes, where they know athletics and academics are both a priority. For all your grain hauling needs, you can count on the guys at Heartland Carriers of Sharon Springs, Kansas.
And welcome back. Vesteca's serve. It's still set point for Wallace County, but Northern Valley's knocking on the door. Benish is going to roll over to the back row. Controlled. Over in two. Benish sets up for Daly. Daly's going to get a free ball over to the Huskies. Set up for Braxton Cox. Blocked at the net, and down it goes. Wallace County takes set one from Northern Valley, 25-23. We'll be back on OpenSpacesSports.com with set number 2 right after this.
When it comes to chemical application, fertilizer, and seed needs that you have in the Wallace County area, contact Helena Agri Enterprises. That's right. Lyle Hammer, the new manager there, along with Gavin Mote, will take care of all your chemical, fertilizer, and seed needs for the Sharon Springs and Weston areas, and even cover you over there in eastern Colorado. Chemical, fertilizer, and seed needs, Helena Agri Enterprises in Weston, Kansas. Call them today.
Hennick Lumber and Supply in Sharon Springs is a complete hardware store where you'll find anything for your farm or home. Hennick also features lumber sales and more in Sharon Springs and Wallace County, Kansas.
When it comes to personal service and minor tune-ups, tire repairs, and more, you can depend on Home Oil Company of Almena. Whether it's filling up your car or pickup, or fuel delivery, or an oil change, you can trust the friendly people at the Home Oil Company. Home Oil Company of Almena supports the Northern Valley Huskies in academics and athletics.
The Pierce family has had a rich tradition of agriculture and farming in Wallace County. They've been part of the agricultural community for decades, and the Pierce family and Homestead Farms is happy to continue that tradition into the future. They, of course, also are happy to support the athletic and the academic achievements of the young people of Wallace County High School. Supporting the Wallace County schools and agriculture of the future. That's Homestead Farm.
The Larson Angus Ranch, located in Sharon Springs, Kansas, reminds people that their philosophy is ultimately to please their customers and the end consumers with a high-quality product. The Larson Angus sale is always the first Thursday of March, so mark your calendars now. Larson Angus Ranch supports the agriculture industry and the academic and athletic success of Wallace County schools.
Long Island Feed and Grain is a proud supporter of the Northern Valley Huskies year after year. At Long Island Feed and Grain, they are there to help you with your grain storage and marketing of your grain this year. That's Long Island Feed and Grain of Long Island, Kansas.
Welcome back, everybody. Wallace County takes set one over Northern Valley, 25-23. As you can consider an upset, Wallace County, the 5 seed, Northern Valley, number 4 seed. An upset in set one, I would suppose. Northern Valley has 6 more wins on the season over the Wildcats. Has a 15-9 record on the season for Northern Valley, 9-23 on the season for Wallace County. Wallace County took set number 1. We're on the start for set number 2. It's Daly to serve it to the back row for Signs. Now Cox setting it up for Hauserman. That one's back over, and it's going to be a double hit from Mary Baird to start things off. Daly's serve. Set up from Austin Cox. Back over from Hauserman. Back to the back row. Joss Benish. Now Dinkle. Austin Cox setting up for Hauserman. The spike into the net. It goes. Point to Wallace County. 4 hits. 2-0. The serve. Cox going to set it up. This time for Braxton Cox. The serve. It's controlled, and it's a lift on Jasia Stafford. First point of the set. Two to one. Braxton Cox served for the first time. Set 2. Josh Benish setting it up for Jasia Stafford. This serve right over the net, just barely, and down. 3 to 1. Wallace County's lead. Substitutions. Jaima Stafford comes in to serve for the Wildcats. So here's the serve. 3 to 1 the score. Dug up in the back row. Setting up for Signs. Benish going to put it over in 2. Cox going to set it up. This time for Hauserman. Back row spike to Stafford. Now to Brookley Dinkle. This one's going to be almost dug out, and out it goes. And it's 4 to 1 Wallace County. So Jaima Stafford to serve. Up 3. Masteka. Cox. Now to Signs. Spikes it into the net. 5-1 Wallace County's advantage here. Up by 4. Here's the serve from Jaima Stafford. Into the net it goes. And it's 5 to 2. A 3-point for Northern Valley. So now to serve for Northern Valley, it's number 16, Mary Baird, the 5'7" sophomore. Here's the serve from Baird. Benish going to set it up for Dinkle. Dinkle's spike, out the back it goes. And what I like about Substate is the line judges aren't just, normal people from the school. They are official refs now, so now they're going to be as accurate as possible here in Substate on those line calls. Benish going to set it up for Dinkle. Dinkle sets it over, but it's going to be a point for Wallace County. It's a net violation on Signs. Here's the serve. It's going to be miscommunicated. 7 to 3. Wallace County's lead. So now Wallace County will get the serve. It's Callie Stubbs. Braxton Cox going to hit it first. Austin Cox is second. Mary Baird's going to roll over to the backside, and out it goes. Last touch by Wallace County. So now it's 7-4. Northern Valley gets the serve right back. The serve, Jaima Stafford. Joss Benish. Segging it up. The rollover from Hayden Stubbs to the Huskies. Back over to the Wildcats. Benish sets it up for Stubbs once again. Here's the set for Cox, and it's going to be another violation, a double hit on Northern Valley. So Josh Benish to serve, up by 4, 8-4 our score. Dug out by Braxton Cox, set up from Hauserman for Austin Cox. The spike, back row, Jasia Stafford sets it. And it's a point for Northern Valley. Double tap from Wallace County, so sub coming in. It's going to be Signs coming back in to serve. She'll serve from the far side. Jaima Stafford with the set. Over from Brookley Dinkle, right over the top of the net. Braxton Cox going to pass it off to Austin Cox. This set to the back row. Benish off to Daly. Daly's spike, it's controlled by the Huskies. Braxton Cox will go over to the back row. Benish to Jasia Stafford. Midway spike, too far out the back it goes. Point to Northern Valley, 8-6. Signs with the serve. Benish will set it back to the backside. This one back over to the Wildcats after one tap. Benish back set for Brookley Dinkle. This spike is going to be down, and it's 9-6. Back to a 3-point lead. Gibbs is going to come back in for Wallace County. Brooklyn Dinkle will remain as the server. Here's a serve from Brooklyn over the net. Setting up for Braxton Cox. The spike. Controlled. Benish to Daly. The southpaw spike, and it's 4 taps. From Wallace County, 9-7. Listecka will come back in. Jasia Stafford gets it off the serve. Listecka is going to... It's going to be down, point to Wallace County. Seems like Signs kind of just gave up on it. It looked like it was possible, but maybe she saw it different. Savannah Rose is going to come in for Northern Valley. Jasia Stafford to serve, up by 3, 10-7. The serve from Stafford to the back row. Set up from Hauserman to Mary Baird. That spike controlled by Jasia Stafford, and it's over from the Wildcats. Rose, Hauserman sets up for Braxton Cox. The kill to the backside. This is going to be over and just miscommunicated as Hauserman hit it. Savannah Rose was going back to try to keep it alive. But instead, Jasia Stafford will have the serve. Her serve to Savannah Rose. The pass for Cox, now to Baird. The spike over. Jasia Stafford set from Benish. Now off to Gibbs. The spike into the net, and it's going to be 4 hits from Wallace County, 11-8. Cox serve, back row, Stafford into the net. It goes. A point for Northern Valley. Austin Cox serve. Brooklyn Dinkle. Benish going to have to put it over. She does. Set from Austin Cox. Now, and that spike too far out the back for Hauserman. 12-9, Wallace County's lead. So here's a serve from Jalen Daly. Savannah Rose with the second hit. Mary Baird rolls over. Benish going to put it over in 2, and down it goes. Point to Wallace County, 13-9. Daly's next serve up by 4. To the back row, Listecka. Set up from Austin Cox. Backwards for Braxton Cox. This one controlled by the Wildcats. Brooklyn Dinkle midway spike to the back row. Savannah Rose. Austin Cox going to save it. Almost goes in to the stands, but it's saved and it's out. And it's 14-9 Wallace County. Northern Valley does not want their season to end here. Down by 5. The serve to the back row. Savannah Rose. Back over in 1. It's on the line, and it's in for Northern Valley. They pulled, McKenna Gibbs pulled off of it. Braxton Cox with the serve. It's going to be set up. Gibbs going to have to get it over. She barely does, and it's over. 5-point lead for Wallace County, 15-10. Jaima Stafford will come back in to serve it. Stafford serve. Controlled by the Huskies. Rolled over from Hauserman. Stafford. Benish sets up for Dinkle. The running spike tipped at the net. Dug up in the back row by Braxton Cox. Hauserman rolls over backside. Benish over in 2. Listecka. Austin Cox pushes it backside. Controlled. This spike, back row set. Austin Cox going to hit it, and over it goes from Savannah Rose. Spike over. Huskies get it back over to the Wildcats. Back over in 2. Going back and forth. And finally, Wildcats come up with the point with a lift call from the Huskies. 16-10. And it's a timeout taken by Northern Valley. 16-10, Wallace County's lead back after this.
Mark Coleman is your Golden Harvest seed dealer in the Sharon Springs area. When it comes to your fields, you need seeds you can trust, and Mark Coleman knows you, your land, and how to get results. Delivering seeds you can count on to produce your best crop possible is his top priority. With Golden Harvest, it all comes down to top quality seeds that's farmer tested, farmer trusted, and farmer delivered.
Mittens in Oakley, located right off Interstate at Highway 40, has been delivering bulk fuel and bulk oil to the region for many, many years, whether it's Nebraska, Colorado, or Kansas. And not only that, they offer 24-hour service 7 days a week, whether you need to fuel up coming off the I-70 corridor, or whether you want to get something to eat at IHOP, maybe at Sonic, or even Subway. They've got what you need, they've got what you're looking for at Mittens of Oakley. They've been doing it for decades, right off I-70 and Highway 40. Mittens of Oakley.
Welcome back. Jima Stafford with the serve up by 6 to the back row. Austin Cox going to set it up for Savannah Rose. The spike. Jima Stafford digs it up. Benish sets it up for Brookley Dinkel. This time too far out the back point for Northern Valley. Serve over. Set up from Benish. Callie Stubbs to roll over. Set from Savannah Rose. And this time it's going to be set into the net. 4 hits from Northern Valley. Back to a 6-point lead for Wallace County. Callie Stubbs serve. High arcing to the back row. Braxton Cox. Austin Cox sets it up. This time over from Hauserman to the Wildcats. Brookley Dinkel sets it up for Benish. And it's down. Miscommunication from Austin Cox and Braxton Cox. Seven-point lead for Wallace County, 18-11. Austin Cox setting up for Savannah Rose. It's back over to the Huskies after 1. Savannah Rose sets it up, this time for Tharman. Over the net, tipped at the net. Benish going to roll over in 2. Austin Cox sets it up. Savannah Rose. And miscommunication between Tharman and Hauserman, and it drops. 19-11. Set up from Cox. This one's going to be too far over, but Dinkel touches it. Point to Northern Valley. 19-12, back to a 7-point lead. So Andrew Mina Hauserman with the serve. Jima Stafford digs it up. Benish sets it up for Dinkel. Dinkel spike into the net. Northern Valley staying alive, 19-13. Here's the serve. It's going to be into the net. Another point for Northern Valley. They got a little bit of momentum here. Now down to a 5-point game. 19-14. Here's the serve. Back row, Jima Stafford. Benish sets it up for Brookley Dinkel near side. The running spike controlled. Austin Cox sets it up for Rose. Rose's spike to the back row. Stafford. Benish setting it up for Brookley Dinkel. Rolls over. Hauserman now to Cox. Roll over to the backside. Set up from Benish. Dinkel's spike near side. Braxton Cox can't save it out the back. And Wallace County gets a 20 points first, 20-14. It's going to be a timeout taken by Northern Valley. Coach Kirsten Baird back when we return.
New Age Industrial is located in the heartland of America, in Norton, Kansas. With their single location, they are able to assure continuous product quality as well as maintain a consistent, high level of customer service. Their rural location gives them access to a workforce with a very strong work ethic and a true understanding of what the word quality means. Supporting today's broadcast is New Age Industrial.
Nutrien Ag Solutions is the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services. Nutrien Ag Solutions plays a critical role in feeding the future by helping growers to increase food production in a sustainable manner. Nutrien Ag Solutions supplies products that are from the earth and for the earth. Nutrien will keep innovating because it's essential for achieving shared success with their customers, investors, and other stakeholders that rely on the long-term success of their business. A message brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions.
And welcome everybody back. 20-14 is our score. And it's going to be the serve from Josh Benish, a laser beam over the net. It's going to be over to the Wildcats. It's going to be a pass into the net. Dinkel's going to save it, but it's going to be called a lift. Now it's 20-15. Signs to do the serving. And something's not right on the court, apparently. The net ref calling something. But we're going to resume play. Signs with the serve, down by 5, and miscommunication, make it down by 4. Point for the Huskies, 20-16. The serve dug out by Jima Stafford. It's back over and 1. 3-point lead for Wallace County. Northern Valley showing their stripes with the momentum. It's going to be set over into the net, controlled by Northern Valley. They can't do so. 21-17. Roll over from Cox. Set up from Benish. Brookley Dinkel's spike to the net, blocked. Benish will come it back over. Set up. Back to the back row and out it goes. Point to Wallace County, 22-17. Five-point lead for Wallace County. This one's over. Setting it up for Austin Cox. The spike to the back row, Jasia Stafford. Over from Brookley Dinkel. Set from Austin Cox. This time to Braxton Cox. The spike too far out the back. 23-17. And Wallace County is 2 points away from a victory here in this. Northern Valley's got to make a comeback. It's Baird. Sets up for Braxton Cox. This one over too far, and it's officially game point, 24-17. Game point. That serve on the line. And that's how it's going to end Northern Valley's season. So Northern Valley's season's officially done. And Wallace County is going to move on to face the number 1 seed, Golden Plains, here later this afternoon. So 25-23, set 1 score. Wallace County won it. And 25-17, set 2 score. So Wallace County wins in 2 sets. We'll be back on OpenSpacesSports.com with our next game here, as our next game is going to be the home court advantage. Wheatland Grinnell Thunderhawks taking on the Tri-Plains Brewsters Lady Titans. So thanks everyone for tuning in. For Kyle Richmeyer, I'm Tate Reynolds, and we'll be back with Game 2 right here on Open Spaces Sports.